I was 16 when this happened. I'm black from Chicago, but my family has roots down in Alabama. They've got farmland out near Huntsville, big stretches of woods, old barns, and my uncle's huge house with a few trailers scattered through the trees. They use them for hunting trips or camping when the weather's good. That summer, my southern cousins invited me to come down and spend a few days camping. They teased me nonstop for being a city kid. No clue how to handle the woods. Still, I went along. We packed up food, killed a pig and some chickens, grabbed supplies, and headed deep into the property. The moment we got there, something felt off. The air had this sharp, electric smell, like ozone, that same tang you smell before lightning hits. We shrugged it off, unloaded our gear, and went swimming down by a creek. After a few hours, this older white guy and a teenage boy appeared from the brush. The man had a shotgun resting on his arm, and he gave us a polite hello. He asked what we were doing that far out in the woods. We told him about my uncle, and when he heard the name, he nodded, said he knew him. Then he warned us to stay close together. Said there'd been a big animal roaming the woods lately. His son, Tanner, asked if he could hang out with us, and the man agreed. That's when the green text part of my life turned into a real story. We played football, hung out, joked around. There were 11 of us total, me, Tanner, 5 of my cousins, and 4 of their friends. 5 girls, 6 guys. Everyone was between 15 and 17. We just wasted the day away, laughing, drinking sodas, eating junk food. When the sun started dipping, Tanner set his property backed right up to my uncle's land. He wanted to run home and ask his dad if he could stay the night. My cousin Rooster volunteered to go with him, and one of the girls tagged along too. It was about 7 in the evening, and the sun was sinking fast. They grabbed flashlights and took the narrow dirt trail toward Tanner's property, while the rest of us hung back at camp, making s'mores and teasing each other. The sky went dark. Fireflies blinked between the trees. We forgot about them for a bit. Then the smell came back. That same metallic, electric scent, only stronger. You could smell it even over the campfire, a coppery, blood-like tang, like the air after a nosebleed. Everyone noticed it. We checked the trailers, thinking maybe some old wiring was burning, but nothing was wrong. The smell clung to the air like static. Then we heard it, pounding footsteps. Rooster, Tanner, and the girl came running full speed down the trail, screaming. They burst through the clearing without even slowing down and ran straight into the trailer. We followed, locking ourselves inside. Even Rooster, the tough one, was crying hard. Tanner's eyes were red, his jeans caked in dirt, hands shaking. Once they caught their breath, Tanner told us what happened. He'd gone home, asked his dad about staying, and his dad said sure, but told them to be careful. Maybe even take a rifle, since something big had been attacking animals lately. One of their pigs had been ripped apart, half-eaten. They figured it was a coyote or maybe a cougar, though that didn't quite fit. Tanner said he didn't want to carry a gun. He figured animals avoided people. So he packed his bag, said goodbye, and they started walking back as the woods got dark. Halfway down the trail, they started hearing noises, movement off the path, branches snapping, something big shifting in the brush. The girl said she heard whispering or gibbering sounds from both sides of the trees. Then they smelled that same metallic scent, strong enough to make them gag. They shined their flashlights and saw someone standing in the woods, turned away from them. Just standing there, motionless. Rooster yelled out, told the guy to stop being creepy. The person didn't move, just stood there, facing away. Then they saw another figure. On the other side of the path this time. Same posture. Same backward-facing stance. That's when they ran. They said the deeper they got into the woods, the louder the gibbering became, like multiple voices whispering nonsense. The girl flashed her light behind them once, and she saw something moving low and fast through the trees, jerking like it couldn't walk right. By the time they saw the light from our campfire, whatever it was had stepped out of the woods behind them, 40 yards away. Then they sprinted the rest of the way back. Inside the trailer, Tanner could barely talk. The others were still shaking. The smell was getting worse, thick like hot metal. That's when my cousin Junior, trying to lighten the mood, said, "Maybe it's the Goatman." We all told him to shut the hell up. But he kept talking, said he'd heard from a native kid at school that there was a creature that lived in those woods. Half man, half goat. A shapeshifter that could mimic voices, faces, even blend into groups of people until you couldn't tell who was real and who wasn't. I thought it was nonsense. Just another campfire story. But as the smell started to fade, the laughter did too. We tried to shake it off. After a while, the smell faded completely, like someone flipped a switch. We told ourselves it was just some rednecks trying to mess with us, maybe someone from town playing a prank. Still, none of us were brave enough to go outside for a bit. By 9 or 10 that night, the nerves started to settle. We went back out, stoked the fire, and tried to act normal. Laughed again. Told jokes. We didn't want to look scared, especially in front of the girls. Nothing else happened that night. The next day passed quietly too. But when night fell again, that calm didn't last. Around 1 a.m., we were sitting outside, getting buzzed and telling ghost stories. One of my cousins had just finished some ridiculous story when the air went dead silent. Then it hit us. That smell. It rolled through the clearing thick as smoke, copper, ozone, blood. So strong that one of the girls started gagging and threw up. The air turned heavy. Sticky. Like the air before a storm. I told everyone, we should go inside. Right now. This isn't right. We all piled into the trailer and shut the door. Everyone was whispering, scared but trying to act tough. My cousin Junior started again. Told y'all it's the Goatman. I told you. Rooster snapped at him, told him to shut up, but I could feel it too. That crawling sense that something was wrong. It wasn't just fear. It felt off, like the woods were holding their breath. We decided to distract ourselves and cook some food. I grilled brats for everyone, 3 packs of 4, 12 total. I passed them out one by one, then grabbed mine and sat back. Everyone ate in silence. The smell was still there, faintly, mixing with the scent of cooked meat. Then one of my cousins stood up, walked to the pot, and frowned. Hey, why'd you get 2 brats? There's only 11 left. I looked at him. What are you talking about? Everyone only got 1. There were 12 total. That's when one of the girls, the one who'd gone into the woods with Tanner and Rooster, screamed. Oh God! Get it out! Get it out! She backed into a corner, trembling and sobbing. Everyone jumped up, panicking. She just kept pointing, shaking. And then it hit me. There were 12 of us eating. But there were only 11 of us at camp. We all froze. I started counting everyone, 1, 2, 3, 11. My stomach dropped. We'd been sitting there all night, laughing, eating, talking, with someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Everyone scrambled outside. I could barely breathe. The girl was still crying and praying, and the trailer door slammed open, banging against the side in the wind. Once we caught our breath, we started yelling questions at each other. Who saw who come in? Was anyone missing? Had someone brought a friend we didn't know? No one had. That meant whoever it was, whatever it was, had been in there with us. Eating with us. Sitting beside us. When we finally went back in, the trailer was empty. But something about the air felt wrong, like it had been disturbed. The girl told us that right before she screamed, the person next to her had grabbed her leg, hard, leaned close, and whispered something she couldn't understand. After that, nobody said a word. We just huddled together, terrified. Eventually, exhaustion took over, and one by one we fell asleep. When I woke up, sunlight was creeping through the blinds. Half the group was already packing. The rest looked like they hadn't slept at all. Everyone wanted to leave, except for a few who still didn't believe what happened. The girl Kira, the one who'd been touched, said she was done. She wanted to go home and never come back. We argued for a while, and finally split into 2 groups. For people left right away, heading back toward the main road. I stayed behind with the others because my uncle owned the trailers and I had the keys. I had to lock up. By mid-afternoon, there were 8 of us left. Tanner said he was going to run home and grab a rifle, just in case. He promised he'd be back by sundown. But 5 p.m. came, and Tanner still wasn't back. The woods grew quiet again. That's when one of my cousins said, "Hey, Kira's outside." We all looked through the window. And yeah, she was. Standing by the fire pit. Back turned to us. At first, we were confused. She'd left hours ago with the others. Then I noticed something. The smell, that faint metallic scent, was creeping back. I told the others, that's not her. Something's wrong. But they laughed, said I was trying to scare them. One of the girls rolled her eyes and went outside to get Kira. She walked halfway to her, then stopped dead. Kira started moving, but not like walking. Her shoulders twitched. Her back rose and fell in these weird jerks, like someone laughing silently. And that's when I realized the woods were completely silent. No crickets, no birds, no wind. Just that awful, jerky sound of whatever we thought was Kira. I yelled for the girl to get back inside, and she bolted for the door. We locked it behind her, slammed every curtain shut except one, and put a guy in a chair to watch the figure. For 20 long minutes, she didn't move. Just stood there. Then bang! A massive hit against the door shook the whole trailer. Everyone screamed. We backed away, hearts pounding. The banging came again, harder this time. Then we heard Tanner's voice outside. "Let me in. Stop playing." We rushed to the door and yanked it open. Tanner stumbled in, pale, shaking, rifle in hand. There was no one behind him. He locked the door and turned to us, eyes wide. He said when he got near the camp, he saw a girl by the fire. Thought it was Kira too. But when she turned to face him, her mouth was hanging open and her eyes never blinked. She just tracked him with her head as he walked. And every time he blinked or looked away, she was closer. When he reached the clearing, she was halfway between the fire pit and the trailer. He ran the rest of the way. Then Tanner whispered to me, "You know there are only 7 of us in here, right?" My blood ran cold. We counted. And he was right. There were only 7 of us left. When Tanner said that, "There's only 7 of us left," it felt like the whole room froze. No one breathed. No one spoke. We all looked around, afraid to even count again. The same thought hit every one of us. It had come back. And this time it was inside. Tanner said when he left to grab his rifle, the woods were dead quiet. No wind, no crickets, no frogs. Just silence. He said he saw something, not a person, not quite an animal, standing off the trail watching him. Every time he blinked, it was closer. By the time he reached the clearing, it was almost right behind him. Now, standing in the cabin, Tanner looked pale as death. His voice was shaking when he whispered, "It's been with us this whole time. It doesn't stay gone. It blends in." Nobody knew what to say. The room was quiet except for the sound of our own breathing. We tried to focus. Tanner reloaded his rifle. He said his cousin Reese was on the way, he'd bring another gun, and by morning they'd drive us all home. That gave us a little comfort. Not much, but enough to breathe again. Then one of the girls, the same one who'd almost gone outside earlier, said something that made my blood run cold. "How do we know you're really Tanner?" The room erupted. Half of us thought she was losing it. The other half weren't so sure. She started crying, saying, "What if the Goatman killed him and took his place? What if that thing's one of us right now?" Everyone started yelling, accusing each other. It felt like we were trapped in a nightmare where trust didn't exist. I was trying to calm them down, but honestly, I couldn't even convince myself. For all I knew, I could have been talking to that thing and never realized it. Outside, the last light of the sun disappeared behind the trees. The air went still again. We turned on the radio to fill the silence, but no station came through, just static. And then, finally, Tanner's cousin arrived. Reese was older, maybe 19 or 20 tall, with a heavy-duty lantern and a hunting rifle. He walked up to the trailer slowly, shining the light around the clearing. When Tanner saw him, he exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for hours. But Reese didn't look calm. He looked confused. He stepped inside and said, "Where's your other friend? I saw one of y'all standing by the trail on the way up. Figured she'd be here already." We all froze. He frowned. She didn't say anything, just stood there smiling. I kept talking to her, but she didn't answer. Smelled like blood out there, too. Like y'all were cooking it. The trailer went silent. Tanner and I exchanged a look. Then we told him everything. Every single detail. The smell, the copies, the shadows, the voices. Reese didn't laugh. Didn't even question it. He just nodded slowly, sat down, and checked his rifle. Said, "Yeah, I don't like that smell." Smelled it the whole walk here. The more we talked, the more the air inside that trailer felt heavier. It was like something was pressing down on us, listening. Around 11, the smell returned again, this time worse than ever. Like burning blood and wet metal. Like hair singed on a stove. Tanner and Reese both stood up immediately, rifles in hand. And that's when we heard it. A knocking on the door. Soft at first. Then harder. Then a voice. It sounded wrong. Off rhythm. Like it didn't understand how people talk. "Let me in, stop playing." We froze. Every muscle in my body locked up. The voice spoke again. "Let me in. Stop playing. Let me in." It was Tanner's voice. But Tanner was standing right beside me. The girls started crying. Reese whispered a prayer, lifted his rifle, and aimed at the door. The knocking turned into scratching. Long, slow scrapes that made the wood groan. And the voice, that broken mimicked voice, kept repeating the same line, over and over, for what felt like 15 straight minutes. "Let me in, stop playing." Then, just as suddenly as it started, silence. The smell began to fade. We sat there in stunned quiet until Reese finally said, "Nah, we're not doing this." He kicked open the door and stepped outside. The woods were black and empty. The smell hit us like a wall again, blood, copper, rot. Reese fired into the air. In the name of Jesus Christ, leave us alone. Another shot. Then another. That's when we heard it. From deep in the woods, across the creek, came a sound I'll never forget. A shrieking howl, part woman, part animal, echoing through the trees. The brush started thrashing, shaking violently. Reese fired again and backed toward the trailer. We slammed the door shut behind him. The rest of the night was pure hell. For 2 straight hours, we heard that thing moving through the woods, shrieking, gibbering, clawing at the ground. It never came right up to the trailer again, but we could feel it circling us. Eventually, the noise stopped. We all sat there, exhausted, shaking. One by one, people drifted off to sleep. Everyone except Tanner. He sat in the chair by the door, clutching his rifle. He told me later what happened while the rest of us slept. He said sometime around 3 a.m., he started to nod off, but then saw someone come out of the bathroom and lay down on the floor in the middle of the cabin. He thought it was one of us at first, just trying to get comfortable. But something felt wrong. He looked around and counted us. 9. There were 9 people in the room. We had started with 7. Tanner said he didn't move. Didn't breathe. The figure on the floor started to twitch, like it was trying to mimic sleeping, jerking its shoulders, moving wrong. Sometimes it would stand up, shake like it was laughing silently, then lie back down again. He kept his rifle ready, but he didn't fire. He said if he missed, it might kill all of us. So he sat there, watching it, pretending to sleep. Until morning. When the sun finally came up, I woke to find Tanner pale and shaking, staring out the window. We all packed in silence. Nobody spoke about the night before. Tanner told us to start walking, said he'd lock up and catch up later. I didn't want to leave him alone, but he insisted. We got maybe halfway down the trail before he came running after us, out of breath, saying, "We have to go now." We ran the rest of the way to his house. Reese drove us all home. Later, Tanner told me what he saw. When he'd gone back inside to lock the bathroom window, the one we forgot to close, the curtain was open, and something had been looking in. He said it smiled at him before slipping back into the woods. And when he looked down the trail, it was following us, walking slowly, watching. It stayed behind us the entire way to his house. Then, right before we went inside, Tanner turned around. The thing stopped at the tree line, met his eyes, and smiled. Then it stepped backward into the dark,